Good morning, y'all. For those of you who have never watched, my name is Miss Keish with Journey of the Word Ministries, home of every name known to God, where we nurture relationship over religion and all are welcome regardless of your belief. I have been missing in action for about 2 weeks, y'all, and I have been feeling guilty about it because, you're always supposed to honor your commitments no matter what is going on unless you absolutely cannot. And I have felt like it was my flesh allowing me or stopping me. But this morning I came to a realization that it was not my flesh stopping me. My flesh allowed me to be distracted, but that God wanted me personally to see something to connect my last sermon and really hit with it and connect it. I I don't talk about something without it coming uh, to me, and I got this topic about how God's word always is applicable. And now the time changes, but our Father's word does not, and we still can tie into our life. And I gave these three topics: the lady at the well, the three Hebrew boys, and Joshua, that were going to be used. And they were given to me by someone else, an older lady, who knows the Bible better than I ever could. She just gave me those, just like that. The three Hebrew boys, the lady at the well, and Joshua. She told me to use those. And I was inclined to run with it. I try and look for God's confirmation. So, this is part 3 of Time Changes, My Father's Word Does Not. And I came to the realization that I needed to see my own connection with the story, and I needed to be able to make it personal and show us how it applied in a way that was more relatable. Um, I'm going to ask you to be patient with me. I'm going to be trying to read my main points about Joshua so that I don't overlook them and I can tie them in. It's going to be kind of long. I'm just telling you right now because it's going to be very personal. I'm going to be really talking about something that hits home for me. So the story of Joshua, just jumping right into that right now. Everyone is familiar with Moses. I know that some people may think about Joshua, but when you think about them escaping from Egypt, getting to the promised land, having those 40 the food, the fights, everything, you think only of Moses. Well, when Moses died, Joshua took over. He was appointed by God to lead the people through the Jordan and take possession of their promised land. God made a promise to always be there for his people as long as they obeyed his laws. He promised the victory in the war. Pay attention to the word war. So God said to be strong and courageous and to not turn left or right, stay straight ahead at what he promised doing and with his way, not your own, okay? So he says, be strong and very courageous. Be careful to obey all the law my servant Moses gave you. Do not turn from the right or the left, that you may be successful wherever you go. Do not let this book of law depart from thy mouth. Meditate on it day and night, so that you will be careful to do everything written in it. Then you will be prosperous and successful. Have I not commanded you, be strong and courageous? Do not be terrified. Do not be discouraged, for the Lord your God will be with you wherever you go. Some were allowed to rest, and others were sent to fight. The men, the warriors, were commanded to go and fight and to help their brothers. Okay. Do not let the book of law depart from your mouth. So when you're talking, when you're aiding, when you're advising, when you're speaking on things, always make sure that here and here it's controlling, that the words of your mouth are an outward expression of what you should be meditating on day and night, his law. Be careful that everything that you do is aligned with this, so that uh, you start to see daily changes. You start to see the progress in going his way, and God promises you success. He says to be strong and courageous. That means do not be fearful. Do not be cowardly. You don't need to be terrified of anything or discouraged, Because wherever you go, God goes. So whatever pain you have, whatever victory you have, whatever misery you have, God is going right through with you. You're not going through it alone. He's actually feeling it. So just think about that too when you're thinking about the decisions you're making. You're imposing them on your children, your family, your loved ones in your circle, and most importantly, God is feeling the consequences of your actions with you because he's with you through all the battles. You're going to be victorious through the war, but you're still going to have battles. That's why I said pay attention to, he said, the war. Okay? So you're going to be victorious over the war. You're going to win it. You are going to have some battles to fight, okay? I also want to throw in there that Joshua didn't always do everything perfect. Usually he would go into prayer and consult God before he did anything. And at one point, he had entered into a deceptive peace treaty between Gideon and Israel, and he wasn't even supposed. He was commanded to not deal with them on that level, to make no treaties with them. Why are you making treaties? Why are you going into covenant and agreement with someone or something that has already showed you and identified to you that they are against God's word, that they are against him? They can say, oh, yes, I believe in God, and keep an outward appearance, but if their daily actions dictate to you that they're living completely and wholly in their flesh, that they have no regard for others, they have no regard for God, that they live by an any means necessary type of life, they are not for God. They don't want to say out of their mouth because it sounds ugly. They for the devil. They've chosen their side. They're about individualism. They're about hierarchy. They're about having power. They're not about being successful and winning. They care more about a day-to-day battle than to know at the end of the day that they're going to stand on the side of victory and have everlasting life, and that all of us can join in that, not just them. So there's no reason to deal with a snake. How are you going to make a deal with a snake, a deceptive person, and think that they're going to honor it? And then how are you going to do it and then get mad because they didn't do what they were going to say? They've already shown you, if you look at their fruits, if you watch their actions, they've already shown you that they don't do what they say, that it's not important to them, that they honor their word no matter what, that they're going to do what they feel like doing. So you shouldn't enter into any treaties with them. I'm connecting that right now. So if someone does not live the way you live, not do what you do, no one is the same. No one has to do what you do. No one has to feel the same that you feel, but everyone should be trying to follow God's law. I don't have to do what you do. I don't have to portray it how you portray it. I don't have to look how you look, any of that. But watch my fruits and my actions. My choices will tell you whether God's law has anything to do with what I'm doing. I don't got to do what you're doing, but with everything that I do, is it being applied to the word, okay? What does this story teach us? It teaches us that we should be humble. Humble is not boastful of thyself, not, I don't want to say confident. The exact opposite of humble to me would be not a confident person, because that's very good, but a person who's full of conceit, a person who is full of themselves, a person who thinks that they are the end all be all. They don't realize that God is the great I am. Be strong. Strong does not mean physical strength. Strong is someone who can go through something for 4 months, 5 months, 5 years, and not turn left or right as God commanded to avoid that battle, but stick in there and learn what needs to be learned and apply it. So be steadfast, be strong. Apply the word of God. Study it. Apply it in all thy days and experience. Yes, you're going to have pain. Yes, you're going to have heartache. You'll have victory. But he will not leave us or forsake us, and he'll be right there. You're supposed to pray. If you pray, your family will inherit your fruits. Pray. You're supposed to pray non-ceasing as much as you can. Don't. Our Father prayer is the most beautiful thing. Anything. I'm not knocking anything that anyone does to love God. It's awesome. But you love God on your level. You pray to God on your level. I personally talk to God like he's my best friend. He is my best friend. But I talk to him like he's right here with me. My prayer is, and my prayer isn't, like some people think you can only pray to ask for stuff. You don't, that's not true. You can pray to work through things, to talk to him, just like you call your friend to consult, and, you're going through something and you need somebody to vent to. I vent to God. Yes, you vent to other people too, but I talk to him just like he's my homegirl, and I got to get it out to somebody, so I get it out to him. He's not going to turn on me. He sees all my flaws. He knows what I am on the inside and the out, and I don't have to worry about it going anywhere else. He has it. Um, I also ask him for advice. I also ask him to things to do. Why would you consult with someone beneath you? Who are you asking? Keep God's word in your mind and in your mouth for that you guide others with it and guide yourself with him. Do not consult with those beneath you. Why are you asking the devil what to do? Why are you asking what they think? Why are you looking to sources that are not him? He is the main source. Go to him. Think about the people that you listen to and what situation they're actually in, or what they're living with. Do you want that for yourself? Don't let the devil distract you from a battle you should be fighting to obtain skills. You need to eventually win the war one day by fighting a battle that you're not even meant to be going through. All you gotta do is turn around. Accept the things that you cannot change. Change the things you cannot accept. And pray for the wisdom to know the difference. At the end of the day, the only thing that you have to do is honor God, and he'll take care of you. We are going to lose some battles. We're going to struggle. We're going to have disruption. But if we talk to him willingly, we will eventually have victory and win the war. And that is what counts the war, because the end all be all is spending eternity with our Father, who's going to give us love, peace, happiness, joy, no suffering like it was in the beginning before we introduced sin into the world, or spending an eternity with the devil, burning in constant suffering, constant reliving of the worst pains, the worst decisions of our life. Do you want that? I mean, seriously, just be like, oh, I want to live my life now. You're not promised tomorrow. No, you're not promised tomorrow. You're not promised today. And our time is numbered. But time here, let's say you live to be 70 years old. So you have 70 years on this earth. For the first 25 years of it, you're really just growing up. So that's not even 50, that's 45 years here, temporary. So you're going to risk it forever, because there's no end. We don't physically die. No one understands this. We are made, our bodies, our beings, our souls will last forever. Where's your soul going to reside? This body is a temple. It's a holding place while you're on this realm. It's our housing unit for our soul. That's why we're supposed to take care of it. This is temporary. So you live to be 70 years old. You're going to risk having what you want for 70 years when you have endless time. And how you live now during those 70 years is going to determine how you spend your eternity. Think about that. How does this story help us? How is it relevant? I'm going to get very personal here, and it may take a while, but our battles in this time are different, but the strategy is still the same. I'm going to share a battle with you that has been one my whole family has had to fight with, even my children, and we always say that they are innocent, but we should remember that sometimes our actions rob them of their innocence, and be careful. But remember that no matter what, all things work together for the greater good of those who love him. So no matter mistakes and all, he'll be there for you, and it'll be more than okay because God has you. My personal battle that connected this need for obedience, this being careful of who I went to guidance for, applying his word, has come to me the last 6 years. I shouldn't really, for my children, this has been a longer battle, and I can't pretend to know what they feel, because their father has been sick most of their childhood. They have an emotional and mental roller coaster that we have been on. 6 years ago, my doctor said to me that if you were perfectly healthy, because I asked her what effect is this going to have on my life, because I have non-curable, how do you say, I think they call, like, I have chronic illnesses basically, and there's no cure. They're very painful. There's nothing that can be done. I have no immune system. I asked her, what effect are these things going to have on me? And she says, on my life, if you were perfectly, absolutely healthy up to this point, I say 6 years, give or take. I looked at her. I said, okay. I didn't show any emotion. I didn't cry. I didn't do anything, I say, well, what if I've been sick? And she says, I can't tell you. And how long have you been sick? I tell her I can't tell her. Couldn't tell her because I have been experiencing things mentally and physically for so long that were not acknowledged or taken care of, that I had adapted myself to push through. I think it's a culture thing, a generational thing, definitely with women and definitely with black women. We don't accept defeat. We don't have the time to be. We don't have the time to be soft. We don't have the time to be weak, and we'll let things fall all around us, trying to do everything and keep pushing when we should sit down. Um, I knew that I had been sick. Uh, I knew that I honestly I couldn't even keep a house clean. I couldn't. And to someone on the outside, it may have been some regular to them, or that's maybe how she is. She's lax about that. I wasn't. It was driving me crazy. It was an inner mental battle for me, because I believe in a place for everything and everything in its place. And when you are used to being able to be one way and you don't have the capabilities to do it at all, no matter how hard you try, it's uh, it's frustrating. Um, I had a very big family. I had 6 children. We were dealing with some things for my husband, and so I'm like, well, he's for real sick. Like, uh, you just need to chump, chuck it up, pull it together, dribble those 3 minutes of tears to get back up and keep going. Don't let the nothing stop you. And this to me was a good thing until that day when she said, if you've been perfectly healthy. So I'm sitting there and I'm feeling like a fool because I've ignored these things. And when I didn't ignore them and I tried to get help and I was pushed out, I just accepted it and I just kept going. So I went into panic mode. I tried to be calm on the outside. I decide whether or not I'm going to tell my family. I don't tell anyone in my family but my husband and my children. I don't know how to tell them. I don't want to like scare them, but I know that I have to tell them because I know that because I don't really know what's going to happen. I don't want to deny them. I don't want it to sneak up on them, and I feel like it would be deceptive of me to not say anything. But me saying something caused problems for them, for all of them. It was hard for them to deal with. They were already accustomed to dealing with the things that we had going on with their father. And then I come and drop this ball at them like they're adults, like an idiot, um, and expect things to keep rolling. I would try and reassure them that everything was going to be okay, but on the inside, I had the worst inner battle going on. Um, so many things. I'm like 6 years. So I have 6 children. I have adult children, and I had babies. Um, I had two, to me, really young children, and I had two in the middle who were grown but not grown, and I had two adult children. Uh, in my mind, I'm like, what is going to happen to my children with no parents? I had two older sons. They were away. They were locked up. Um, so I have these two almost grown children, and I have these two children that are definitely gonna need somebody, and I have a sick husband. Who, guys, is worse than me. He don't acknowledge that he's sick. Um, but it's a type of sickness that it can be avoided, so it doesn't really matter. Um, I'm telling them that, because I don't want them to be disappointed, because I don't know if I am going to actually die or if I'm going to make it. God is not a magic genie. You cannot just pray and ask and get whatever you ask for, because whatever is meant to be is meant to be. But everything is going to be okay. But I wasn't thinking that everything was going to be okay. And I wasn't consulting the word. I went into a fear mode internally. I said, okay, so I have these two boys that are in school. Um, I am thinking, okay, I have to make sure that they are going to be okay to be here alone. I have two daughters that need to be taken care of, and their father may go right after I go, and they're just sitting here. There's no one that are going to take my children in, and the two adults in my family are not available. And what am I going to do? I didn't know if I was going to ever be able to hug my two sons again, see them again. My babies had not graduated yet. I was doing my best for I was doing my best to keep them on a different path than my older ones were, and had not up until that point even tried to. I wanted them to stay children, so I'm like, okay, I wanted them to stay children, and I was trying to keep them out of the street. Uh, but at this point, I'm like, okay, we need to fast forward into adult mode. I need them to be equipped. I need them to be ready, and I put a pressure on them without even realizing it, thinking it was doing the right thing because I consulted me, not God. Was I praying? Heck yeah, every day. Was I talking to him? Heck yeah, every day. Was I being positive to the kids? Heck yeah, every day. But, excuse me. Sorry. I was also being negative and didn't realize it. I was also being rough. I was also being mean. I was also operating out of fear. I wasn't being obedient as Joshua was. I wasn't having the words of God. I won't say words, because the words of God were always coming out of my mouth. My actions weren't lining up. Oh, I thought they were, because I was being accepting of the fact that I might be dying. I thought they were because I was teaching my kids to try and accept it and know that God's will is okay. But I wasn't, because I was trying to control the journey. I wasn't. I was so scared to. I was scared to even ask God to save me. I didn't. I think my children did that more than I did. I think my husband did that more than I did. My husband still is in complete and utter denial about my illness. He don't deal with it. He doesn't address it. Uh, it's just not. It's just not a good topic with him. Period. I know that my children prayed for my survival, but I was afraid to ask him for it. And we shouldn't be afraid to ask him for anything. I was afraid to ask him for it, and I was afraid to tell my children that God would save me, because I didn't want them to have a resentment for God if I didn't. And I could have been teaching them acceptance if he didn't, but getting them out of fear to ask for what you want, because if you ask not, you have not. I was given several visions. I was given a vision that I knew that I was going to die, but not because of necessarily my sickness, but because I wouldn't change my lifestyle, my attitude, my angers, my animosities, my inner self. Isn't that funny? Because a physical illness was going to kill me because I wouldn't change my spirit. I had a little girl, and that's why I said God pushed me to this point. I was not supposed to be see her 17th birthday. Um, and that really scared me. because there was no one to be here for her, to no one to teach her how to be a lady, how to be a woman, how to not fail, how to not sit down, how to know that God was going to take care of you through everything. I put an immense pressure on my sons to be more than they needed to be because I didn't trust God that even if I died before I had the time to teach them, that He would give someone to teach them that, which is ironic because I should have trusted it, because in my life God gave me those. I wasn't giving them, He gave them to me. Um, and I should have trusted the same thing with my children instead of ruining my sons' lives by pushing them and trying to pump so much information into them for that they could be more men than the men we're here now. I'm not a man hater. I think that man is a beautiful, wonderful thing. Um, I think that men carry a lot on their shoulders. I just think society distracts from what a man is supposed to be and not supposed to be, and then it twists. So I want to give my sons the ability to think, the ability to move, the ability to meditate, the ability to have compassion, but the strength to lead their family, the strength to take care of their family, the strength to take care of one another, because I felt that me and their father were not going to be there. Um, and I inadvertently put it on their shoulders right now instead of letting God put it where it needed to be when it needed to be there. And it caused, and probably still there, animosities, hurt, pain. So that's what I meant by our actions can destroy their innocence. I was robbing them of their innocence instead of letting them be young men because I was afraid of what was going to happen when I was gone. um, my oldest daughter, I needed to make sure that she was taken care of. We didn't. I didn't want her to be here without a secure grounding, a secure being. I didn't consider the fact that it was just too much for her to handle. Um, I just wanted to, and I just wanted to. I'm praying. I'm thinking. I'm like, okay, God, I got the plan together. So my oldest daughter, I'm gonna make sure since we're not gonna be here that she's gonna be okay because no one else is gonna be there for her because we only have us. So I'm setting the plan for my oldest daughter. I'm setting the plans for my other two sons. I'm pressuring them. I'm setting high expectations for children to be men. I am taking a 12-year-old and teaching her to be an adult. My two sons that were locked up, I'm in between telling them the whole truth and not having them worry. I'm torn between what information to give them and not give them. I'm torn between the fact that I may never see them again before things come to fruition. Man, it's like, can you imagine having a child that is there but you can't touch them, you can't see them, you can't hug them, and you know your days are numbered? So I got two I can't touch. I have one that I need to set up the ability to be taken care of. And I have two that I want to actually take this responsibility to take care of the two girls that are out. And that I want to hurry up and be men so that I know when I'm gone that they're good, God fearing men. Um, then I have a little one who I flash the next 10 to 12 years in real quick. I try and get to a point and then I didn't have a relationship with this one. She was too little. I was too strict. I had school. I had work. I had internship. I had a lot of things, and we were just getting to the point where we were communicating. Um, so I'm fast forwarding a relationship. I'm fast forwarding her teenagehood. I'm fast forwarding her adulthood because she's a woman, and I don't want her to be taken advantage of. I want her to be able to stand on her own 2 feet. I don't know who's going to take care of her. I want to trust that her brothers will. I just know that my children will stick together because they don't have a choice and we're all we have. Um, it's always been like that. Yeah, we have family in another state, but we don't have the type of family that everyone else has. None of us do. They don't. We don't. It's just not. We have each other. Period. So I knew they were going to stick together, but I wanted them to stick together properly. Um, One of my sons would say, "I know that you're going to die. You or Daddy are going to die before I get out of here because it's going to be a punishment for me being disobedient." And Lord, I want to tell him, no, 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 because God doesn't punish you, but sin has consequences. The wages of sin is death. So if you choose and decide to do something, there's a consequence that comes along with it. God isn't doing that to you because you did it. You knew that if you stuck your hand in that fire, you were going to get burnt. Point blank, period. You know that if you disobey your parent or whoever, you're going to have negative consequences because more than likely it's going to be a double whammy because you're doing something that you're not supposed to be doing because they're trying to help you and guide you, and you chose to do it anyway. Um, I think he dealt with it more with a denial because I don't really think that he understands to the depth of what is really going on. But again, overly, I didn't want to overburden him with when he had so much of his own things going on. Now I'm supposed to be consulting the word. So I'm reading the word. I'm saying I won't be angry with God if I die. But I have an inner battle and I'm not asking him the proper questions. So I'm not praying to him. I'm not consulting him. My fruits are not relaying that I'm following his path. Um, Things had to start to fall apart in my house. I started having confrontations with my son. Um, Sons. I start to have confrontation with my daughter. She starts to do a lot of things that I don't like. I have confrontation with my older daughter. She starts to be resentful and move away. Um, my youngest son that is locked up is angry, resentful. He doesn't feel the support that he thinks should be there, but he's also been hidden from a lot of things that are going on in the real world. My oldest son told me, I know that. At first, he was like, I know that you're going to die because people like you, they always go. They don't get the chance that daddy has. And I don't know what I'm going to do. Um, Somewhere he came to the point of praying for healing and knowing that I was going to be here. And I don't know if he tells me that because he can't take it. Because he always says, both of my boys would say that they didn't know what they would do if something happened to us. And it was a panic for them because they knew the situation. I would have people in my ear about my daughter. I still do. Uh, you're being her friend. You're being too nice. You're this, you're that. And I would actually let it get me angry and change what I was doing instead of ignoring them. You don't need to consult with others when you've consulted with God. They didn't know my situation or my reasoning. They're not in your shoes. They didn't understand that I have a goal for this child. I'm leaving this child. The things that I were able to give my sons and my oldest daughter, because they had reached that stage and reached that point, I can't give this child. So I'm going to give her everything I can as quick as I can. And you know what? Now I got a little grown little thing. I want to smack the piss out of her. But I love her to death. I love all of them to death. I'm so proud of um, my kids for being able to survive in this environment that we have created. Um, I'm proud of them for striving. Um, I'm proud of them that even though that they fall and they go through some major hiccups, that they don't quit. I'm really proud of that. I think that even though it took me a moment to buckle down and change my thought process um, with my sons, I had to tell myself, be honest with them, let them know that we want to be prepared, and just try and go with the flow and then ask God to guide you on what to do with the actions. Some of the actions that I had to do hurt. I had to do a lot of letting go. One of the main things that I was told beforehand that I wasn't doing, I don't pay attention to me. And that was very hard and created a lot of anger in my family too. Cause, oh, mama's changing, mama's changing. My husband, you changing. I don't like it. And I was, but when you've neglected your own self your entire life and have never thought about yourself, and now you're in a position where you ain't got much time to think about yourself, but if you don't, it's gonna shorten it for real. You decide to change your priorities. So if I'm knowing the stress, if I'm knowing that had hard times and reacting in a certain type of way and not tending to myself is going to shorten my life most definitely, I needed to stop doing it. So I couldn't just ask God to save me, but I wasn't trying to save myself. So I had to try and save myself. I still had the fear of all the things that were going to happen. I didn't never have a fear of dying, what was going to happen. I had a fear for everybody else that was here. My husband, my kids. My husband got the short end of the stick for this last 6 years with me because in my mind, I spent 30 years with you. You're grown. You're going to handle it better. But my children are still being raised. So I got to concentrate on them right now. And I kind of just pushed him to the wayside. I didn't have time. I would tell myself, I don't got time for your nonsense right now. Um, you don't, you act how you act dealing with your health. I'm act how I act dealing with my health. And that's just how we're going to do it. And as far as patience or attitude from me, he got the very, very short end of the stick because as an adult, and the fact that we had spent over half our lives together, in my mind, right now the only thing that was important was the children. Any event was a family event. Any event was about making memories because time was short. Time was short. So that I learned when they were younger, we always did like family movies, game night, things like that. But we had moved away from that. But being sick woke me up again to, man, we have to create these memories. There's nothing more important than spending time together. Forget the rest of that crap. Let's have some laughs. Let's have some fun. Let's just be together. And it became very important to me. But I had to get to that point. I had to get to the point of I'm going to accept whether I live or die. That's not up to me. But how I live while I'm still here is up to me. That's when I started my journey of honoring the fact that I was called to pastor. I was so scared. I was like, oh my God, you're going to go to hell because you've been told you were supposed to do this. You refused because you were meeting the guidelines of society that a woman cannot preach or teach, that it's not acceptable. And you accepted that and walked away from what God called you to do. And now you have a clock ticking. Woo, woo, woo. Scared, scared, scared. Man, I jumped, not right away, so that's a lie. But I can't say jumped. I started school. And this was a second start because I had already studied religion. But only with the intent to know and learn, never with the intent to pastor, because I am consulting with those beneath me. I am consulting with the tail, not the head. I'm not calling on God, asking him, you called me, is this okay? Society is going to accept it, so I'm not going to do it. So at this point, I'm learning, who do I consult? What do I consult? Pay attention. You say you're following God, Keisha, but you're trying to control the plan. Let's start implementing his ways back into your life the way you should. Let's start the progress to being able to spread the word. Let's make sure that you're honoring what God has told you to do. Let's make sure that you're trusting Him with the outcome no matter what. Not saying you trust Him, not saying that you can accept Him, but stop trying to control and overthink every aspect of it, because that's what I did. I tried to take control of everything in my household and everything and guide it, thinking in my mind, lying to myself that I'm doing what God would want me to do. I'm making it easy. He didn't need me to make it easy. He didn't need me to prepare that. He needed me to follow His laws, to follow His guidance, to consult with Him, and to trust Him that He would either fix my decisions that I made, or that He would help me make the right ones. He didn't need me to outline a plan. He didn't need me to think of a A, B, and C backup. He didn't need me to do that. And you guys, I started to try and pay attention to myself. I started to try and take better care of myself. I slowed my relationship down with my daughter, but I still continued to give her what she needed in case I wasn't there. Not all of it, but just to me, what common sense wasn't there. Now, I had already done my damage. Um, I tried to be more honest with my two older boys. Um, I learned to be more delicate with my oldest daughter, talking about what was going on with me, because I began to see how it affected her. My youngest son was a radar for the mommy was sick. He would just see it. And it's funny because we had a big, large amount of turmoil with his behind. But if he saw that I was down and feeling sick, he would shut it down. And I had to learn that he had to learn his own way, and that I couldn't fix it for him. My other son, woo boy, and he's so quiet, and doesn't show he doesn't show emotion or feeling or anything like that. He's like the more serious, quiet to himself type. When he expressed to me the pressure that I had put on him, that was an eye opener too, because I didn't realize I had did that. I kind of took his life plans from him. I kind of altered his life, because his life became, I'm gonna have to take care of my little brother. I'm gonna have to take care of my little sister. I'm gonna have to take care of my oldest sister. I'm gonna have to take care of my dad. That was where his mind went to, and his mind snapped. And it was because of the bad decisions that I had made, trying to fix everything. You can't fix everything. So we can't win every battle, but we can gain from those battles if we pay attention and walk with God's word. We can win the war if we walk every battle according to what He says. If we walk every battle trusting Him. Does that mean that you're not going to make mistakes? Nope. You are. Does it mean you're always going to do what He says? No, because you're not. Does it mean that you won't be doing the wrong thing, thinking that you're doing the right thing? It does. But that's the importance of not consulting those beneath you, not listening to those who are not in a similar situation or want to be in a better situation. A lot of people give a relationship advice like, "Oh, I would never." It's something. Half the time that girl ain't got no man anyway, and she got 10 of them that don't belong to her. And these men that are giving these advice, he's sleeping on the couch, honey. Don't listen to him. He's sleeping on the couch, or his woman is on her way to having another man. Don't take advice from them. Um, don't take advice about your children randomly from other people, because you never know how different that you are. I'm I'm be People think that everything fits into a tidy box. They use a lot of stereotypes. All my sons are mama's boys. Honest to God, they are. But most mama's boys, you like, oh my God, his mama be kissing his butt. She this, she that. I don't do none of that. I don't even know why. I don't even know why they mama's boys. Outside of the fact that I love them to death, cause I don't never be on their side. They always they wrong. They wrong. Like always wrong. So I'm always having to get on their tail. And so if I listen to other women who have mama's boys, and I've had one of my sons, two of them, be like,
other mothers, they don't do that. They behind their son's side no matter what.
I am behind you. I am behind you. I am on your side with the truth. We're going to do it the way God say do it. I'm not going to pretend that you doing right and you not doing right. I'm not going to take your side against your loved one that's in your life because that's your life you created. And you're wrong. I'm not being your mother at that point. That's not what a mother is to me. If you want to be a parent, my ideal parent is the mother in me that is always going to tell you the truth and never going to give you advice from an angle of pain, an angle of where I would benefit from it, but what I feel is best for you. It's not always going to be right because I'm not right. I'm flawed. But always my intent will be your better good. Once your children reach a certain age, you should be able to have a friendship with your child. They should be able to talk to you from one adult to another so that they don't, and this is another I don't see this at all. I don't. And most people, you can't tell your mama, you can't tell your daddy, you can't tell your family what your loved one done because they're going to hold it against them. And they're going to not want to deal with them. When you forgive them, they won't. But I don't want to be that way. I want you to know that if you tell me something about your husband or your wife or a situation that you're in, that mama is going to still talk to that person and treat that person the same way she was before she knew it. That mama is going to tell you how you caused that problem and what you should be doing to change it. That mama's going to have you go to the Word. And I'm not going to be talking to you as your mother. I'm going to be talking to you as a friend with your well-being in mind, as an adult, not a child, as a husband or a wife. And that's how I'm going to give it to you. So your parent should be able to be everything that you need, like God is everything that we need. God is my friend. God is my father. God is my guidance. God is my confidant. And all relationships here are supposed to mimic that of God. So your parenting should do that. I'm getting there. I'm a work in progress. But I love my children. My oldest daughter, I can talk to her as an adult or as a child. Um, we argue, we fight, but we've come to a better place. She doesn't like to talk about me being sick at all, so I have to respect that. She don't like it. Um, my relationships are not perfect with any of my children, but we all pray for one another. We all love one another. Um, my relationship with my husband about my illness is the same as my daughter. It's not something we discuss, but he's more of a he yell at me. He's more of a do some sit-ups type of guy. When it comes to stuff like that, he's more on the analytical side. Don't be eating that. Don't be drinking that. Do some sit-ups. Oh, ain't nothing wrong with you. You're gonna be all right. He doesn't want me to lay down and give up, so he tries to avoid the situation altogether. But we all praying for each other, and we all getting there. Um, I say I lost some battles during this last 6 years because of how I was operating. But when I got back grounded, uh, it was good. My oldest daughter graduated. My third oldest son graduated. um, I have 5 grandbabies. I got to see both of my oldest boys before they went away, and my other son is back home uh, with his family. He has a family, and my sons are good with their children, which I love, and I get to see that, and it's a blessing. Um, my oldest daughter doesn't have any children yet, thank God, and has plans, and no matter what, she is going to keep trying to get there, and I love that. My youngest daughter has had 11th grade credits or since the ninth grade, and the only reason that she is still in school is to try and obtain a dual enrollment. She's done. She's done 2 years early. She just we're dragging our feet to accomplish something, and done with good grades. Me and I've watched my husband become a better father and a better man. I have watched additions to my family. I've made it past the 6 year mark, y'all. Um, my I was blessed with a job that accommodates my health issues and my constant not having to be there. I was blessed with a support system. Even I was blessed with a support system. Uh, so I'm winning that war, you guys. So Joshua, praying to God first, trying to follow His word to lead the people from through the Jordan to the promised land. How does that apply to today? Any battle that you go through, you're leading your people. I had my personal battle, and I was trying to lead my people, and it wasn't always the best way, but I got back on track, and I'm winning the war. Uh, you have your battles. You may lose some, but you're going to win the war as long as you apply His word. Meditate on His word. Meditate. Meditation. You're taking time away. You're concentrating. You're seeing. You're soaking in that word. That's what you're doing. That's going to help you through anything in life. And now I am to a point where I don't believe I'm going to die. I can accept if I do. I can't accept that I can't fix everything and make everything in a perfect, tidy box before I go for my husband and my children. And I know that they will be okay. And I can accept that even though I didn't get me a building church, that I actually started honoring God's word, and it feels good. I feel blessed to be able to do this. I feel blessed to have some things that I defeated. I feel blessed to have these battles to talk about. I feel blessed to feel my pain every day, y'all. That sounds so stupid, but I really do. It's people in my position who can't feel anything, and I think that would be a lot worse. Um, I've been blessed to watch my children grow up and to see grandchildren come into this world. I've been blessed with an outside support system, even though I'm not near my family. Uh, God gave me a mother here. I have a much better relationship with my mother, my father, my siblings. Uh, God blessed me with a God fearing husband and gave me the ability to have God fearing children, and there's nothing better. Uh, no, don't think that I'm telling you that we're I don't think really I don't think that anybody is perfect. The little perfect Christian thing. We're not Christian. Well, I don't know what my children's religion they claim to be. They can be whatever it is, and I will respect it. But um, I know that we love God. I know we believe in the relationship of God, all of us, and I know that's what's most important. Um, and God has given that to us. And I know that every struggle, every battle that we go through, every struggle or battle that my husband goes through, that my children go through, that they use something from the word to defeat it, that they use something from the word to survive it, and that they realize that they are fighting these battles against the devil, and that the God is their only way to victory. And I love that. And I love that I was a part of it. I was blessed to be a part of that. And I couldn't ask anything more. Life is beautiful, you guys. Don't get distracted by fighting the little battles. So distracted that you don't see what God has put in front of you to really win. And what you're really supposed to be winning is a relationship with Him, so that the world through these trials while we're temporarily here is not so grim. My life, our life, is like a soap opera. It really is. But man, it's good. I wouldn't change anything at all. I wouldn't. I'm kind of out of words, guys. I have to go. But be blessed and thank you for joining me.